Independence is magnetic. There's a powerful energy that radiates from a man who knows how to stand on his own, chart his course, and live his life unapologetically. Women are drawn to that energy like moths to a flame. And here's why. Independence isn't just a lifestyle, it's a mindset. It's a declaration that says, I don't need anyone to complete me, but I'm open to sharing my life with someone who complements me. That distinction is everything. When a man is truly independent, he exudes a quiet confidence. You don't have to scream it, you don't have to prove it, it's just there. It's in the way you carry yourself, the way you make decisions, and the way you prioritize your goals. Women pick up on that energy, and it signals something profound. You are your own man, you have purpose, direction, and drive, and you're not waiting around for someone else to give you permission to live your life. That's the kind of man people want to be around, the kind of man women can't help but notice. Here's the thing, when you're independent, you create a dynamic where your life is already full, already thriving. You've got your own passions, your own hobbies, your own dreams. You're not coming into a relationship looking for someone to fill a void, because there is no void. Instead, you're inviting someone into your world, and that's an entirely different experience. It's not about dependency, it's about partnership. And let me tell you, women find that irresistible. They don't want to feel like they're carrying you. They want to feel like they're walking beside you. Now, don't misunderstand me. Being independent doesn't mean being cold or detached in a way that keeps people at arm's length. It's not about shutting people out. It's about showing that your happiness, your sense of self, doesn't hinge on someone else's presence. It's about being whole on your own. And when you're whole, you create the space for a healthy connection because it's built on mutual respect, not needing. Women respect a man who respects himself. They respect a man who's willing to invest in his own growth, his own success, and his own happiness. When you're independent, you show that you've taken responsibility for your life. That's powerful. It's not just attractive, it's inspiring. And people, women especially, are drawn to those who inspire them. When you're living with purpose, you become a man worth following, a man worth standing beside. And here's the kicker, independence isn't just about what you do, it's about who you are. It's about the way you show up in the world. It's about having the courage to be yourself, to stand firm in your values, and to live authentically. That's what creates true attraction, not the surface level stuff, but the depth of your character. When you embrace independence, you're not just attracting others, you're attracting the right kind of people, the kind who appreciate your strength and admire your drive. That's where real connection begins. Let's be honest, confidence is everything. It's the foundation of attraction, the spark that lights the fire. But here's the catch. Confidence doesn't come from what you have or what you've achieved. True confidence comes from within. It's the quiet, unshakable belief that you're enough just as you are. And when a man embodies that kind of confidence, it shows in the way he moves, the way he speaks, and the way he interacts with the world. Women see it, they feel it, and they're drawn to it like a magnet. On the flip side, nothing kills attraction faster than neediness. That energy of seeking validation, of constantly looking for reassurance, creates a dynamic where you're chasing, and that's not an attractive position to be in. Women don't want to feel like they're being put on a pedestal or like they're responsible for your sense of self-worth. When you exude neediness, you're essentially saying, I need you to make me feel valuable. And that's a heavy burden to place on someone. It's not fair, and frankly, it's not appealing. But here's the beautiful thing about confidence. It's not about being cocky or arrogant. It's about being secure in who you are. It's about knowing your worth without needing constant reminders. When you're confident, you're not afraid to give people space. You're not texting her every 5 minutes. You're not anxiously wondering if she likes you. You're focused on your own life, your own goals, and your own growth. That kind of self-assuredness is liberating, not just for you, but for the people around you. Now, let me tell you why this matters. When you're confident, you create a dynamic where the relationship isn't built on dependency. You're not trying to control or cling to someone because you're afraid of losing them. Instead, you're offering something far more valuable. Freedom. Freedom to be themselves, freedom to grow alongside you, freedom to choose you not out of necessity, but out of desire. That's the foundation of a strong, healthy connection. Women are naturally drawn to men who have their own sense of direction, their own purpose. When you're confident, you don't just follow the crowd. You're not constantly looking for approval or trying to fit into someone else's idea of who you should be. You have your own vision, your own path, and you're unapologetically walking it. That kind of strength is rare and it's incredibly attractive. And here's the thing, when you stop needing validation from others, you create a space where real attraction can thrive. Because attraction isn't about convincing someone to like you. It's about being so grounded in who you are that people can't help but notice. It's about showing up as your authentic self without fear, without pretense. That's what women respond to. Not the guy who's trying too hard, not the guy who's constantly seeking attention, but the guy who's comfortable in his own skin. Confidence is contagious. It inspires trust, admiration, and respect. And when you have it, you don't need to chase anyone. You don't need to prove anything. The right people will come into your life naturally, drawn not to what you do, but to who you are. That's the power of confidence. There's something about mystery that captivates people. It's human nature to be drawn to what we don't fully understand. That sense of curiosity, that need to figure someone out, creates a pull that's almost irresistible. And when it comes to attraction, mystery is one of the most powerful tools you can have. Women are deeply intrigued by a man who doesn't lay all his cards on the table right away. It's not about being secretive or playing games. It's about allowing space for curiosity to grow. When a man is mysterious, he stands out because he's not predictable. He's not sharing every detail of his life or constantly seeking validation through oversharing. Instead, he's selective, deliberate, and thoughtful about what he reveals and when. This creates intrigue. It's like reading a book where you can't wait to turn the page because you want to know what happens next. That's the kind of energy that keeps people coming back, that makes them want to invest their time and attention. Mystery isn't about withholding, it's about pacing. Too often people feel the need to spill everything about themselves up front, thinking that's how connection is built. But real connection comes from discovery. It comes from the slow unraveling of someone's story piece by piece over time. When you leave room for curiosity, you create opportunities for deeper engagement. You're not overwhelming the other person with information. You're inviting them into a journey, one step at a time. Think about it. When you meet someone who's mysterious, they linger in your mind. You wonder about them. You replay the conversation, analyzing every word, trying to fill in the blanks. That's the power of mystery. It creates a sense of fascination that goes far beyond the surface. And let me tell you, women are drawn to that sense of wonder. They want to know more. And that desire to uncover the layers is what keeps the spark alive. Now let's be clear, being mysterious doesn't mean being distant or emotionally unavailable. It's not about putting up walls or making yourself hard to reach. It's about balancing openness with restraint. You can be warm, engaging, and charismatic while still maintaining an air of mystery. It's in the way you answer questions, the way you carry yourself, the way you listen more than you speak. When you're comfortable with a little silence, with a little ambiguity, you create an energy that's magnetic. The mystery also ties into confidence. A man who's mysterious is a man who doesn't feel the need to explain himself. He's secure enough to let his actions speak louder than his words. He doesn't rush to fill every gap in the conversation because he knows his value doesn't come from how much he says, but from who he is. That kind of self-assuredness is incredibly attractive. When you bring mystery into your interactions, you're not just creating attraction, you're building anticipation. You're giving people a reason to lean in, to stay curious, to invest their energy in getting to know you. And that's where real connection begins. Because when someone is intrigued by you, they're not just interested in your story, they want to become part of it. That's the power of mystery. The way you treat yourself sets the tone for how others treat you. When a man respects himself, it's like sending out a signal to the world, this is someone worth respecting. And respect is at the core of attraction. Women are deeply drawn to men who demonstrate a strong sense of self-respect because it shows that you understand your value and won't settle for less than you deserve. Respecting yourself starts with setting boundaries. It's about knowing where your lines are and having the courage to enforce them. When you don't allow others to cross those lines, you communicate that your time, energy, and emotions are valuable. And that's not just attractive, it's inspiring. Women are drawn to men who can say no when it's necessary, who won't compromise their values or bend to every whim just to please someone. And notably, that firmness, that clarity, it's magnetic. But it's not just about what you say no to, it's about what you say yes to. Self-respect means investing in your growth, pursuing your passions, and prioritizing your well-being. It's about showing up for yourself every single day. When you take care of your body, your mind, and your goals, you're demonstrating that you value yourself. And that energy is contagious. People, especially women, notice a man who's driven, focused, and committed to becoming the best version of himself. It creates an undeniable pull. Here's the key. When you respect yourself, you stop seeking validation from others. You're not looking for someone to approve of you or tell you you're good, because you already know it. That inner certainty radiates its outward. Women sense what is grounded in his own worth, and it's the most attractive trait you can have. It's not arrogance or ego. It's quiet confidence that says, I know who I am, and I'm not afraid to stand alone if I have to. Self-respect also shows in the way you handle relationships. When you respect yourself, you don't chase or cling to people who don't value you. You're willing to walk away from situations that don't serve you, not out of spite, but because you understand your worth. That decisiveness, that willingness to let go when necessary, communicates strength. And strength is incredibly attractive. Women don't want a man who's constantly trying to prove himself or begging for attention. They want a man who's secure enough to let the connection grow naturally. When you respect yourself, you create an environment where mutual respect can thrive. You're not trying to dominate or control. You're showing up as an equal, as someone who knows his value and recognizes the value in others. Respecting yourself isn't just about what you do. It's about how you carry yourself. It's in the way you hold your head high, the way you speak with conviction, the way you walk into a room like you belong there. That energy is magnetic because it comes from a place of authenticity. And when you live with that kind of self-respect, the world notices. The right people notice. Women notice. And they can't help but be drawn to it. Let's talk about one of the most fascinating dynamics in human relationships. The allure of a challenge. It's hardwired into our nature to value what we have to work for, and that includes people. When a man presents himself as a challenge, it creates intrigue, excitement, and a sense of accomplishment for those who engage with him. Women, in particular, are drawn to men who don't give their attention and energy away too easily. Why? Because when something isn't readily available, it instantly becomes more valuable. When you make yourself too accessible, too eager, or too available, it often sends the wrong message. It can make you appear as though you have nothing else going on in your life, and let's be honest, there's nothing attractive about that. Women don't want a man whose world revolves around them from the outset. They want someone who is selective with his time and energy, someone whose attention feels earned rather than given away freely. That sense of exclusivity is what makes you stand out. This isn't about playing games or being manipulative. It's about recognizing your own worth and not being afraid to act like it. When you prioritize your goals, your passions, and your well-being, you're naturally creating a sense of distance. And that distance isn't a bad thing. It's what creates the challenge. It's what keeps people wanting more, curious about what you're up to, and eager to invest their time and effort into getting to know you. Being a challenge doesn't mean being cold or indifferent. It's about being intentional. It's about knowing that your time and energy are valuable and offering them only to people who truly deserve it. When you're selective about who you let into your life, you're communicating that you have standards, and women respect that. No one wants to feel like they're the default choice. They want to feel chosen, and being a challenge gives them the opportunity to earn that place in your life. Let me make this clear. Being a challenge doesn't mean creating unnecessary obstacles or making things difficult for the sake of it. It's not about being hard to get. It's about being worth the effort. When you're confident in who you are and what you bring to the table, you don't feel the need to overcompensate or chase after anyone. You're content with letting things unfold naturally, and that's what makes you a challenge. A man who is a challenge knows how to balance interest with independence. He's not glued to his phone, waiting for a response, or constantly seeking reassurance. He's focused on his own path, and that focus makes him incredibly appealing. It's the difference between being someone who's easily forgotten and someone who leaves a lasting impression. Women are attracted to the man who makes them feel like they've discovered something special, something rare. And when you present yourself as a challenge, not by withholding, but by being intentional and grounded in your worth, you create that dynamic. You become the kind of man they can't stop thinking about, the kind of man they want to know better. That's the beauty of being a challenge. It doesn't just create attraction, it creates connection, respect, and a desire to grow alongside you. Emotional balance is one of the most underrated yet profoundly attractive qualities a man can have. It shows strength, stability, and maturity. When a man has control over his emotions, he's not only more capable of navigating life's challenges, but also more appealing to those around him. Women naturally gravitate toward men who are calm under pressure, grounded in their decisions, and able to handle adversity with grace. That kind of emotional steadiness creates an environment of trust and safety, two things that are essential in building any meaningful connection. Life is unpredictable, and challenges will come at you when you least expect them. How you respond in those moments says everything about who you are. A man who reacts impulsively, who lets his emotions control him, comes across as unreliable and unstable. On the other hand, a man who stays composed, who takes the time to process before he acts, communicates strength. It shows he's in control, not just of his circumstances, but of himself. And that self-control is magnetic. Women want to know they can rely on you, not to solve all their problems, but to stand firm when things get tough. Emotional balance also means you're not ruled by highs and lows. You're not overly elated when things go your way or completely devastated when they don't. Instead, you approach life with a sense of evenness, an understanding that circumstances are temporary, but your inner strength is constant. This steadiness creates a sense of security, and people are drawn to that because it's rare. In a world where so many people are caught up in drama or overwhelmed by their emotions, being the calm in the storm makes you stand out. Another key part of emotional stability is being able to handle rejection and disappointment without falling apart. When you're emotionally balanced, you don't take things personally. You understand that not everything is about you, and you don't let setbacks define your self-worth. This resilience shows confidence and self-assurance, which are incredibly attractive traits. Women admire a man who can take life's punches and keep moving forward, someone who doesn't crumble under pressure but grows stronger because of it. It's also about how you handle success and praise. A man with emotional balance doesn't let compliments inflate his ego or let his achievements make him arrogant. Instead, he remains humble and grounded, aware that growth is a continuous process. This humility is deeply appealing because it shows self-awareness and the ability to stay connected to what truly matters. Emotional balance doesn't mean suppressing your feelings or pretending you don't care. It means being in touch with your emotions while not being controlled by them. It means being honest about what you feel, but expressing it in a way that's thoughtful and constructive. When you communicate with clarity and composure, you create space for understanding and connection. Women notice this because it's not just about how you treat them, it's about how you treat yourself and those around you. When you embody emotional balance, you're not just a man people want to be with, you're a man they can trust, admire, and build a future with. That's the power of being grounded.